Hey everybody, this is Gretchen, and I'm so excited today or tonight. I actually have two very special guests with me. I have Katie from New Hampshire, and I have, her name's not Dorothy, her name's Jeannie, and she's from Indiana. And pretty cool. These guys both signed up near the end of April, and combined since April, they have over more than $10,000 in sales. So I wanted to kind of have something fun for y'all to kind of see and hear from some of our new successful dream builders. Okay, so fun fact before we talk to Katie. Katie is from New Hampshire and says wicked, okay? So she told me that she has a wicked 2.5-year-old. Now that's a good thing, y'all, from, wherever you're from. Wicked 2.5-year-old is a good thing. It's not a Halloween thing. It's a good thing, okay? So, all right, now Katie, really quickly, hello. Welcome.
Thank you.
All right. So my first question to both of you will be, but Katie, you go first, is why did you join 31?
So I joined 31 sporadically, actually. My mom was hosting a party and she just randomly had a 31 consultant. So we didn't know her, anything like that. And in my mom's 31 party, I was really doing a lot of the legwork just because it's fun. And I've had some products for many years and they've always held up extremely well. The consultant reached out and she's like, hey, have you ever thought about actually, joining? And I said, no, I have so much going on and everything. She's like, well, you did incredible. Like you were already doing the work. And it really laid on my heart. I couldn't stop thinking about it for days. And that's when I know that I should jump in. I talked to my husband and he is so supportive. He's like, yep, go for it. And it was kind of just, like I said, very sporadic. It was serendipitous and here we are.
Well, I'm very grateful that your consultant asked you. Kudos to her, because a lot of people are afraid to ask, honestly. So good for her. And look at how your life has changed. But we'll talk about that in a few minutes. Okay, so not Dorothy, but Jeannie. Can you tell me, why did you join 31?
Well, I have loved 31 for a long time. Many years I've purchased 31 through people I've worked with or random hostesses. And there was one person I kept turning back to over the past probably about 3 years, if not more. And that was Marsha Jones. And she inspired me. Yes, she's a wonderful person. She inspired me. And I don't know that she knows she inspired me, but she did. And so I reached out to her and I told her, I said, Marsha, I think I want to sell 21, 31.
It's all right. It's all the same age. It's good.
I did that in my first live video. I'm like, oh my gosh. Anyway.
The beauty of this business is we all make mistakes. It's okay. Keep going.
Then you just go back and you laugh at yourself. That's the best part.
It's okay.
So I asked Marsha, what all was involved, and there was a kit deal going on, and I was like, now's the time. And so really, without getting too much into more about any other questions, it just really pushed me to become more of a people person, because I've always been kind of more back and kind of watch everybody kind of person. So it's helping me build relationships. And I love that.
I love that. That's awesome. Yes, 31 is more than just money. There's confidence and sisterhood and stuff like that. So
for sure.
Now told me she has a fun fact. She likes to ride motorcycles. So cool. Very cool. Okay, Jeannie, while we're on you. So what have you loved about 31 so far? You said about your confidence, that you're working with your confidence and it's really kind of helped you get outside of your shell. What else have you found that you've loved about 31?
For sure, that's the big one. It gives me something to talk about with people. I think that's what I struggled with for many years, being kind of, closed off, that I'm like, now I have something to talk about besides just my kids and myself now, if I see someone carrying 31, I love that, it gives me something to talk about. And I love that part of it. I love the sisterhood. Our team, we have a message through Messenger, and we kind of chat back and forth several times a week. I enjoy that. It again gives me that whole like sisterhood that I just love. I had a customer who purchased something, and now I'm learning how to do the follow-up thing. So they purchased something from me, so I need to follow up. So I messaged her and said, you know, I see you got your items. How do you like them? And she typed back, I'm busy right now. And then she sent me a picture. She was filling up one of her 31 bags. And I was like, oh, I love that. So, you know, just little things like that that just tickle my heart.
Oh, well, thank you for sharing that story. That's very sweet. Okay, Katie, so what have you loved about 31 thus far?
Everything. Short answer, everything. So I was obviously so overjoyed to get my kit. I mean, what's more fun than getting a big package of bags and just things like I love organizing. So that was super exciting. But way more than that, I love, you know, Jeannie mentioned like the sisterhood and the culture of it. I love that. You know, being a born again Christian, I connect very much to the values of 31, and that's very important to me. And it's also helping me create better connections with more people as well, because you know, within social media marketing, whatever, there's a way to go about things and there's a way not. So I'm really learning. I'm learning a lot for business. I'm learning a lot for social media as far as making those connections and really being genuine about it and authentic about it. So that's been huge. I genuinely love hosting parties. Because of COVID, you know, they've all been virtual. I think that's just the way people are comfortable. I really hope to do an in-person one sometime soon. But with every party I host, I do a live. So they can, you know, see the products, get a feel of functionality and size. And I thoroughly have so much fun doing that. And I've had many people say like they can see that I'm having fun. So it's really something to be passionate about what you're doing. And 31 has just allowed extra money. It's allowed me to connect with people and also that confidence piece as well. I'm really, my current thing that I'm working on is handing out business cards. You know, if somebody's complimenting a bag, which they do all the time. And for me, I'm considering every time I hand out a business card, that's a win, regardless of if that person ever talks to me ever, because that takes something to hand out a business card to somebody. That's scary for some reason for a lot of us. So it definitely is helping me with that confidence as well. So it's given me a lot.
Well, I love that. And yes, it takes a lot to give out business cards or your like little minis. I love giving out minis because I always feel like I'm giving something big. But yes, that is a great thing. Sounds like you're doing that a lot. Okay, Katie, let's talk about that. So if you were to start over today, right? Because now we're about 4 or 5 months in, right? 4 or 5 months in since you've been here. You know, what would you have done? What would you do differently? What would you maybe have done differently or do differently?
I wouldn't have sold myself short in the sense of not planning enough for that follow-up. So originally when I did my launch and my first party, like I was writing down people who ordered in a notebook. And I very soon found like, okay, that wasn't realistic. So I had to switch it over and spend the time to do all of that in Excel. So really when you get started, expect the best. And I wish I did that for myself in just the organizational piece of that follow-up. And I've been very intentional with follow-up because I know it's very important, but it's always a work in progress. So I think right off the bat, if I just had a better system, that would have been more helpful, and also being way more intentional with trying to get insiders from the other insiders and just keeping those parties rolling, asking and being pleasantly persistent in asking. That's something I wish I did more of.
I think that's a great comment. I think I always, you know, for me, it's always like book from book, you know what I mean? Like book your goal should always be book 3 parties from any party you hold, and follow up is key. And it is, and everybody always asks me, what's your system? And my system is the notebook. So I'm like, I clearly have a notebook here. So, I think everybody needs to find a system that works for them. The connected contacts really work. That's something on 31 today. So it's really dependent on, what works best for you. Excel spreadsheet would never work for me. I'm just too old school. I've been doing this too long, but that obviously worked for you. So I think that finding a system that works for you, whatever that system is a great thing to talk about. Thank you for sharing that. I really do appreciate it. Okay. Not Dorothy, Jeannie. I swear I want to say that so bad. It's just throwing me off. But if you were to start over, what would you have done differently?
Well, I think that's tough because I still feel like I really don't know enough. Like I'm still growing, and
I've been here 14 years and I still don't know everything. So don't ever feel like that. Okay. Like it's okay that you don't know everything. Don't ask me the patterns because I don't know them for anything. That's why we have a catalog. Okay. So go ahead, Jeannie. Sorry, I cut you off.
You're fine. Because I felt like I needed to memorize those patterns. Like people would ask me and I'd be like, and then they'd look at me funny. And I'm like, well, let me get a catalog. But yeah, there's so much room to grow. I love that. I like the challenge of it all. If I could go back and change anything, I wish I wouldn't have drawn out all my parties in the beginning. Like the first 3 months were 3 parties, like that lasted a month long. I didn't realize I didn't have to do that. So I wish I would have done a little more homework and instead of right away doing the parties. So when I say that, I wish I caught on to where I needed to get on TOT. There seize the day. Like I tell it, that is, you got to go watch it before it's gone, because that inspired me tremendously and changed the way I do my parties. It is on TOT. I also did some YouTubing to see how other companies were doing their parties and just kind of took it all in. I don't know.
That's a great question. No, and it's supposed to be, so that's okay. Don't feel bad. No, I mean, I think what you're saying is right. I always caution against, like, it doesn't have to be perfect. You just have to do it. And as you do it, you learn. So a lot of people are like, I need to know all the patterns, but you really don't need to know all the patterns. You really don't. It's all in the catalog. Like seriously, like open up the back of the catalog and everything's there. So you don't need to know the back catalog. You don't have to have it perfect, and it's okay. And you learn as you go. Like you're like, I mean, I'm still learning. Like every day I'm like, oh, that didn't work. I need to change that for the next party, especially with the Facebook parties and the online parties and the mega parties. Like that always throw me off. So I'm always like tweaking everything. So it's okay that you don't know everything. We don't want you to know everything. That's what 31's about. So, and I always say to people when they ask me stuff, I'm like, the beauty, and my answer is always, the beauty of 31 is I don't need to know everything because everything's always there. So, don't need to be perfect, just do it. So great answers. That's okay. All right. So last question, and this goes to Jeannie and then I'll go to Katie. But Jeannie, if you were to say something to someone who is on the fence and doesn't know if they want to join, what would you say to them?
Well, this is tough because that's something I need to work on. But I would just tell them that that it's all about however much time they want to put into it. So if they don't feel like they have the extra time, that's okay, because it's all about their time. If they only want to have one party a month, they only need to have one party a month if that's all that makes them happy. If they want to do more, then they can do more. But it's all about what they can do and with their time and what they want out of 31.
Okay, that's a great answer. Thank you very much. Okay, Katie, same question. If you were to say something who's sitting on the fence and watching this right now, what would you say to them?
I would say that you have absolutely nothing to lose. bare minimum, you end up with some great products. But with so many things, you know, the expectation and the reality can be so different, and you can expect not to do well and soar. You know, it doesn't always have to be that flip flop. So I would just say, if it's something that's tugging at you, give it a shot, see how it goes. And the best part is you're really going to get from it what you give. So if you only have a little to give, maybe you'll get a little, and that's still awesome too. But if you really pour your heart and soul into it, you know, put it out in the universe and see what happens. So I would say you literally have nothing to lose and all the potential and everything to gain.
I can't agree with you more, Katie. That's a great answer. Okay, so that concludes this little like chat with Gretchen. But it really wasn't a chat with me. It was a chat with, I have Katie over here and Jeannie down there. But I'm sure y'all are like at different places when I actually did the recording. Anyway, thank you so much, ladies, for joining us tonight and sharing your knowledge. I really, I feel awesome that you guys were the ones that I got to start this with. I've never done this, and so I'm looking forward to doing this more often. And you guys proved that it can be done. So I stepped outside my comfort zone today, y'all. So don't feel bad. Okay, so that was wicked good. I think we had a wicked great time. And I'm ready to start my engines and get going. So,
Perfect.
all right, thanks, ladies. I really appreciate you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye.